Welcome back to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and this is episode 2. Yep, we'll go with that. Episode 2 of our 25 Days of Christmas. It's our podcast special that we do around the holidays, specifically geared towards Christmas music and musicians releasing Christmas music in general. And today, it's quite funny because this podcast is going to technically be released before our last podcast, which was a week ago. Oh, so we have Ash Taylor. How's it going?
Good, good. Thanks for having me, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like I was saying, so it is going to be quite funny because the podcast we did for the PanCan fundraiser
Uh-huh.
probably isn't going to get released until after this because yeah, it's
Hey,
be
I love it.
at,
I just roll with it. Just roll
at,
with it.
at least in regards to the podcast feed and how the podcast feed kind of populates. But I don't want to put out like 60 some odd episodes all at once because that would just kind of
Oh,
kill.
sure.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
uh, but really excited to chat with you. How have things been going for you?
Man, they've been really, really good. Honestly, I feel like I've been just really busy. Just promoting Christmas songs. We filmed a music video yesterday, playing shows, just I know this time of year is usually kind of where things start to slow down, but I feel like this year for myself, it's kind of keeping me busy, but definitely not complaining. Just happy to be doing everything.
Nice, nice. It's one of those things where it's like you kind of look forward to that slowdown, but then when
Hmm.
you realize it's like picking up, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's just roll with it because you don't know if it dies down, if it's going to pick back up, or
Oh,
so just kind of
yeah.
rolling with it.
Oh yeah, and then like if you're getting opportunities like to do things, like you don't want to say no, right? Because
Yeah,
it's like when will I get to do that again? So
yeah,
yeah, but what do they say? Like idle hands are those of the devils. That's what my nana always used to say. So I figured if I'm keeping busy, it's probably not a bad thing.
yeah, for sure. And that's kind of the whole thought process behind that is I'm trying to pre-record all this stuff so I can kind of have my cake and eat it too. Cause it's like, okay, I worked extra hard for a couple of weeks to kind of pre-record everything and then just kind of releasing it steadily. And then I can
Oh
kind of have my Christmas break like I want. So
well, and that man, that's super smart and awesome. I think too, like there, if you need a break sometimes, it's just
yeah.
very, very important. And you've definitely worked hard and you've earned it.
Yeah, especially after the PanCan fundraiser. I
Yeah, man,
that
that's a lot.
that was an experience. I've never usually for that it's not quite as in depth as this year's was. I wanted to keep the podcast a little bit shorter and because last year I had so many people reaching out saying they wanted to be involved and it's like,
Yeah.
well, I've already set the schedule, like I've only got these amount of slots, and so this year I was like, you know what, I'm going to cut the slots in half and everybody can participate, and then all those people that were interested last year weren't here and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to find new musicians. I'm going
Oh
to
no.
yeah, and it's just like, okay. So,
Yeah. You
you
just
know,
got to
I
roll, right? Like, what else can you do? I mean, you
yeah,
just got yeah, it's super interesting.
yeah. So we're here to talk about your new Christmas song, Santa Looked a Lot Like Daddy. What's the story behind this song?
Uh, well, I kind of, my hometown, I mean, I lived in Nashville for years now, but I grew up in Bakersfield, California, and that's my hometown and where I'm from. And clearly, being from Bakersfield, I'm a huge Buck Owens fan. And Buck Owens is like the founder of the Bakersfield
Hmm.
sound. And this song was actually written and then made famous by Buck Owens back in the 60s. And then Brad Paisley did a version of it. I think it was probably about in the early 2000s. And so it's a Christmas song that I always just kind of grew up listening to and I always loved. I always thought it was super fun. And this year, I mean, I've never recorded a cover. So I've never
Mhm.
recorded a song that I haven't written, and I've never put out a Christmas song. And so when we were thinking about it in like July, of
Hmm.
this year, we were like, man, like that would just be something fun and it would be
Yeah,
different. And so I was like, well, what song would I do? And it took me maybe 5 minutes. And I'm like, Santa looks a lot like daddy. So that's just kind of where it came from and where we kind of got the idea of like, we should record our own version of it, and kind of put
yeah.
it out there.
That's really cool. It's I guess they call it Christmas in July for a reason.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I know you talk to a lot of independent artists, but
Yeah.
I don't like my younger brother lives with my husband and I.
Hmm.
and he got to see like all that goes into everything,
Hmm.
like how many days I was in the studio recording, and then like how do you put together a marketing plan and a music
Hmm.
video. I mean, you have to start that stuff like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could have probably started it in January or
And
something, but yeah, it takes a lot of time, a lot of moving pieces.
yeah, so when you first had this idea to come out with the Christmas song, what was that moment? Like, I mean, you kind of described that you had the moment of choosing Santa looked a lot like Daddy. Why did that song kind of attract you? What was it about that song specifically?
I think for one, it's a song by like one of my heroes, and
Hmm.
like being from Bakersfield, that is just something that I just grew up listening to a lot. So
Okay.
like for me, when I hear it, when I hear that song, I have very like nostalgic kind of childhood memories. I think the other thing too is, sometimes like as an artist, like you want to be sure if you're going to do a cover song, if you
Hmm.
will, it's like it kind of needs to fit who you are and fit your
Mm.
brand and everything. And I am not really the type of artist, if I can make fun of myself for a second, like I don't wear dresses.
Mm.
So me getting up in a big sparkly ball gown and singing Silent Night, I don't do slow songs. Like these things just don't happen.
Hmm.
It's just not me. It's just not who I am. So my take on Santa Looks a Lot Like Daddy was like, one, I grew up, I love the song. I'm genuinely just obsessed with the song. I wish I wrote it. But then on top of that, it's so fun and it's so upbeat, and it just fit everything that I thought my brand was about. And so and then I mean, I took months too, and I messed around with like the arrangement of it to kind of make it my own.
Hmm.
But yeah, to me, it just kind of felt like an easy choice because it fit me, it fit who I was, it fit my brand. And there was also like a connection to it just from growing up where I did.
Yeah, that's cool. I love it when musicians kind of take a song, and yes, you could just take a cover song, look at a cover song, and then just cover it and play it
Yeah.
as it is. Like, I mean, there's definitely nothing wrong with that. But when a musician takes that song and tries to figure out a way to make it their own without losing the special, I'm going to use the word specialness because that's the
Yes.
that
Yeah.
what makes it special and doesn't lose that. That's always a really cool balance to kind of
Oh,
watch
yeah.
unfold.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And like I said, so when we recorded the track, we went to Pat Laster Productions over here in Nashville, and Pat played bass on it. He's a legendary bass player. He played with Charlie Daniels Band, Lori Morgan. I mean, the list goes on and on. And we had an amazing drummer named Harry Lang as well, who played drums. But my husband and I literally put down all the guitar parts. So that was kind of cool too, because it was like we really took our time arranging that song, and like taking the Buck Owens version and the Brad Paisley version and wanting to pay homage to those, but also wanting to do it our own way with our own twist on it. So like I play all the rhythm. My husband and I swap lead parts. And when the song comes out, if you listen to it, you'll see all kinds of like little Easter egg things in there. Like the last main riff that we hit right before the song ends is actually a riff of a Buck Owens song called Buckaroo. When we swap guitar solos, it's a medley of like different songs like Jingle Bells and different things. So I mean, there's a lot of thought and intention put into it. And I just hope that when people hear it, they realize like, oh wow, like this was really thought out, and it's something that pays, honor to these great versions, but it's also something different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the thing with Christmas music too. I feel like it's easy to we hear these songs so many times, like 2 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think anytime you can spice it up a little bit is probably a good thing, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
It because like I mean, it's such a proven formula. Like how many times has somebody done Little Drummer Boy? Like
Oh yeah.
any of like and just kind of their unique twist on it without
Right.
kind of losing the specialness of it. And it's such a tried and true formula, especially with Christmas, because it's such a limited window as to when you can actually listen to it. Well, I mean, I guess technically you could listen to it all year round, but people might look at you a certain way about it. But
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
um, so you'd mentioned that you filmed a music video for this as
Yeah.
well. How did that kind of whole process unfold?
Oh man. It was a blast for starters. Probably the most fun I've ever had making a music video. But yeah, we basically got the band together and some of our friends and families, and we went over to the legendary Santa's Pub over here in Nashville.
Yep.
And we had Santa himself, who owns the pub, be in it, and we had Nashville Santa. There were a lot of Santas in this music video, but
Nice.
we were over there yesterday and we filmed it, and that will be coming out actually Saturday, December 2nd at 9 a.m. on my YouTube channel. And man, I'm so pumped for people to see it. It was so much fun.
I did not know that there was a Santa's Pub in Nashville.
Oh my gosh, legendary. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's literally a trailer not too far from Music Row.
Okay.
And the guy that owns it, his name is Santa, and looks just like him. And the whole bar is open year round, and it's all
Okay.
Christmas themed. So yeah, it's a karaoke bar, and it's amazing. So great.
I will have to, next time I'm in Nashville, I will have to check it out.
It's
That's
legendary. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Ed Sheeran, when he was in town playing it, like he went over to that bar after his show at the soccer stadium, and he played Santa's Pub for the fun of it. I mean, like literally it's where like celebrities go to hang, and it's just nothing but this really cool little trailer, and it's all decorated out for Christmas. So highly suggest it. And
Nice.
Santa is one amazing guy. Clearly, he was so kind to us just to let us come in and shoot our video there, and then kind enough to also be in it, which I think just kind of made it. So
Nice.
really cool. But if you're in Nashville, man, gotta check it out.
It's a nice little shout out to Nashville, to like real
Oh, yeah.
Nashville. Yeah, it's like one of those little like, hey, little head nods. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
so did you, when you start back in July, when you started coming up with this idea, did you know you wanted to do a music video, or
I did. I feel like, at least for myself, I feel like I don't like, I've done music, professionally now for a couple of years, and I've never done a Christmas song. So when I was, kind of thinking like, oh, we'll do this song, we'll record it, I was like, well, I probably should do, a music video for it. Because it's like, I don't know the next time that I'm going to get around to doing this. And so I was like, might as well just go all out, and we should do it. So yeah, so I mean, once I knew the song, I immediately was like picturing in my head kind of what we wanted to do and like what that would look like. And my first phone call was to Santa's Pub. I'm like, that's the perfect location. And then from there, we just kind of built the script, and it just kind of all kind of quickly came together, luckily. So, but yeah, I definitely think, especially in today's world, I think people really enjoy having like a music video or like some kind of visual thing.
yeah,
And honestly, especially for Christmas, it's just fun, So I
it's
think
like
it helps along.
it's like a Christmas movie in retrospect.
Yeah,
Like it's you need the music video for, especially for Christmas music, you just kind of need the video, and it just adds so much more to it. So
it really does. It really does. And also like, like I said, we had so many friends and family just come be in the music video and be extras. And so, I mean, we all basically, like, I ordered everyone pizza, and we just got to hang out with friends and family and,
nice.
make music. And it's like, how do you not love doing this, man? Like, this is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, 100%. It's always fun when a music video just kind of becomes a group hangout that just like, I mean, yes, you're there for a purpose and you have a end goal, but at the end of the day, when it just kind of becomes a hangout, that's when it's like just the video comes out and so natural.
It's super cool. And especially like, I know we had like a couple different Santas there that day as we were filming, but I always just love seeing people's reaction, because like I didn't really tell people that like, but we'd be sitting there hanging out, and then Santa Claus like walks in the door. I mean, red suit, the whole 9 yards, man. People are like, it's Santa. It's like,
That's
I mean,
fun.
like grown adults. It's like people were just having a good time, man. It's like, this is awesome.
That's really cool. That sounds like a good old time.
Yeah.
Oh, so I didn't want to gloss over this because you'd mentioned about I think it was early on in the podcast, or we were off podcast, one of these things, but you'd mentioned about how much time and effort went into the, like, just the full production of this, because obviously releasing music, if you want to have success and you want to give it the best chance to succeed, you have to put time in for the recording, you have to put in time for promotions. where does that kind of begin with you? Do you worry about getting the song recorded first and then everything just kind of figures out, or how does that kind of unfold for you?
Man, I think that's actually a great question. That's a really good question. I think sometimes, and I think if there's any artists that are listening to this, they probably agree, it can be a little overwhelming because there are so many details and so many things that go into it. So what I kind of like to do though, is I like to start, like, I basically envision what I want this release to do for myself, if that makes sense. Like, do I want this to be, on a million Spotify playlists? Do I want this to be this music video? Do I want this to be on CMT? Do I want like what do I want to gain, I guess, like out of releasing music and putting out this product? Like, what does this do? So I kind of start there because I think like not every song fits to every market, right? Songs are all different, they're different releases. So with this one, with it being a Christmas song and a cover and like all this stuff, I kind of basically envisioned what I wanted to do, which is I wanted to have a Christmas track that was out there in the world that was my own, that was a cover. I wanted to be able to show off like lead guitar shops, and like, that's why I play lead on it. And I wanted to produce it, and I wanted to basically show people like, I want to show you more of like who I am as an artist. I put out these very stripped down things called the acoustic sessions in May. And so people got to see the songwriter side of me, where it's like, here's a vocal, a guitar, and a song, and I'm just going to tell you a story. And so with this, I thought it was maybe a good introduction though to like basically like the Telecaster picking country music, kind of upbeat, fun kind of side. So that's what I wanted for people to kind of experience with this, and kind of what my hope was. And so from there, I think the step one is picking what song and what key you're going to do it in, the arrangement. Then I think it goes to things like actually getting in the studio and laying all that out. Album artwork, I think, is very important. So then you have that. And then once you have all that, then I think it's like writing a press release and reaching out to people like yourself, where it's like, hey, I have the song coming out. And I mean, I basically fill my calendar, you know what I mean? Just pushing and promoting the song for months and months and months, and doing anything I can to get people to check it out and listen. And so, I mean, it takes a lot of forethought, and you really got to think about it. But my whole thing is I always start with like, well, what does this song, what could this do? Like, what's the mass potential of it? And then I just kind of work backwards. And I'm like, great. So if this is my end goal, I need to do X, Y, and Z to get to this other point. If that kind of makes sense. But yeah.
Nice. It's writing press releases is my least favorite thing in the world to do. It is. it like literally, I do a little bit of work with AI, but now that that's out, it's like, hey, write a press release for this. And I just let AI do it because it's literally my least favorite thing to do.
Oh, and it's tough. And and like, luckily I have some people on my team that are like kind of helping me with that kind of stuff now. But man, I used to do it all on my own, and it was terrible. I'm like, oh, this is not my skill set. So yeah, AI is a lifesaver, even if you got to go in and just tweak it. But yeah, I think it's interesting too, though, because I love the fact that we do have tools like that now, because like, I don't think people realize, but like I shot the music video yesterday, and today I'm sitting here, it's the day before Thanksgiving. I'm going to do about 6 or 7 different interviews for different things today alone, right? Like the time and the commitment that goes into everything you have to do. So anything like that's a tool that kind of makes it easier for you, I'm always a fan of. I'm like, this is, you're helping me get more done. Like, it's great.
Right. Because I'm kind of in a similar situation. I had a digital publication reach out to me. They want to do like a profile on Live and Amplified and all that stuff. But it's when I signed up, when I said yes, I'd do it, I thought it was a podcast, and I was like, okay, I'll do a podcast, And it's like, no, it's like a written thing, and I'm like, oh no, I've already committed to this. All right, and luckily I had the PanCan fundraiser, so that kind of bought me a little bit of extra time. But now it's like he needs it by like Monday, and I'm like, well, I guess some point during my little vacation here, I'm gonna try and figure this out. So it's But it's one of those things. Luckily, we're in a generation with AI because AI is going to help me with this, and I'm going to just be like, hey,
Here it is. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah. And then you'd mentioned there's something I was going to bring up, but we got onto AI, and I was just like, okay, it'll wait.
Okay
And now
with
I
that.
forgot. Now I forgot what it was, but
Oh, it will hit you
so
tonight at midnight, and you'll just have to text me and be like, "What was it?" And I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh,
it's just like, oh dang it, I straight up forgot. But it
yeah,
is what it is.
happens."
So the song, as this podcast is released, the song's out now. The music video released today because this podcast is dropping on December 2nd.
Yeah,
So really exciting times. What's your favorite part of the holiday season, I should say?
man, I don't want to sound too much like a fat kid, but honestly, it's the food. I
Yes.
mean, yeah, I feel blessed because like my family is all pretty most of them are pretty close and they all come to my house. So I get to see my family pretty often, but I love the food. As far as Christmas, like I love decorating for Christmas. I
Mhm.
love Christmas music. I love like making fudge and like watching Christmas movies and all this. Like my husband knows at midnight on Thanksgiving Day, I'm going up and getting the tree out of the attic and like just stand back and let me decorate the house. Like I just love Christmas, everything about it, but mainly the food, man. It's pretty great.
Yeah, yeah. Food is good. It's this year, obviously, I'm not traveling just because I feel like I've done so much traveling already this year. I was just like,
Sure.
I'll see you guys for Christmas. Like Thanksgiving, it was a big deal when we were kids, but as we grew older, it was just kind of like it became more of a like I don't want to say immediate family, but it was like okay, where you lived, whatever family you had there, that's kind of what it became. And I was
Sure.
like, Thanksgiving, it's fine. I make myself my own meal. I celebrate. I have fun. I watch football. It's cool. But Christmas, that is a completely different animal.
Oh
I,
yeah, man.
I love the cook. One thing I miss, not having my grandma and not having my mother, are the cookies. There was always cookies everywhere. And it's like, I don't have the time or the patience to make cookies myself.
Right, right.
And it's just like, every year I keep saying, all right, well, I'm going to try and make one batch of something. And it's
Yeah.
just like they burn, they do this. And I'm like, I don't know how y'all do it, but
I well, moms and grandmas, I'm pretty sure have like superpowers when it comes to that. I don't know
yeah,
how exactly that works, but they always make the best, and it's like
yeah,
top
yeah.
that.
I think it's the love. It has to be the love.
I
So
would agree with that. Lots of love in it.
yeah, like I can cook. Don't get me wrong. Like I can make food and all that stuff. But the
Yeah.
second it becomes to baking, because I think it's such an exact science where it's like cup of this, half a cup of that, teaspoon of
Oh,
this. For whatever reason, my brain cannot comprehend any of this.
mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's
I
bad.
relate. Man. I relate. I really do. I totally get that.
But so what are your plans for this holiday season or for Christmas? Obviously we talked about Thanksgiving a little bit, but what's your plans for Christmas this year?
I mean, leading up to Christmas, we're gonna do our favorite family traditions. There's a couple places here in Nashville where we kind of go look at lights and kind of do our thing. And honestly, just Christmas Day this year,
Mhm.
everyone's coming over to our house for dinner, and I think we're just gonna kind of have a chill, easy thing or Thanksgiving. I think just an easy Christmas day,
Mhm.
at home, and my husband will cook and family will come over and I'm kind of looking forward to it. We were kind of saying at the beginning of this that this year usually for me slows down quite a bit,
Mhm.
usually because it's like a lot of people aren't doing too many shows or whatever.
Yeah.
And this year with like the single release and just different things, it's like I've been really busy and I will be really busy.
Yeah.
Um, but it's good to be busy and I'm just looking forward to some food and hanging out with family and having Christmas Day off just to kind of relax.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I don't, for whatever reason, this year just kind of felt weird
Yeah.
in comparison to other weird years. No, I'm
Yeah.
just in comparison to other years, and I don't know if it's like. I mean, I know what it is because there's been some stuff going on at work where we didn't know we were going to have a job come December 1st, and it's
Oh,
just like
I hear that.
And so there was some stuff that kind of came up after that. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, the uncertainty is kind of annoying and it doesn't quite help. And I don't want to, I don't want to take any unnecessary trips right now, especially if I don't know if I'm going to have a job, just all this stuff. But
Oh man. Yeah.
it's one of those things where I know once Friday hits, or not December 24th, but November 24th. Got to remember what month I'm in.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
whole thing. November 24th, that entire thing is going to switch and it's going to be like, okay, full on Christmas mode. It's like the tree's going up, the movies are going on, and
Yeah.
it'll be a transformation. So,
Absolutely. Oh man, that's awesome. Well, I wish you
yeah.
the best of luck with all that. Like for
Huh.
sure. Crazy.
Yeah. So, really appreciate you taking the time. There are three random Christmas geared questions that I'm going to ask you just to kind of wrap this up as a nice little final thing.
I love it.
So, what is your favorite Christmas movie?
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Nice. That's a
She's
good
a
one.
beauty park. Yep.
Yes, that is a good one. I have
Yeah.
it on the DVR or the recording, and I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah.
watch it. Yeah,
I watch
it's
it
ready to go.
multiple times every year, hands down.
Oh yes, it's a good one. What is your favorite Christmas memory from your childhood?
Oh man. I'm blessed enough to say that I have a lot, but I actually got my very first guitar on Christmas. There was a family friend. I called her Granny. She was no
Mhm.
blood relation, just a really good friend, and her husband Jimmy. And they had given my brothers, I think, like $100 each, and they kind of joked around with me, and they're like, we kind of forgot your present or whatever. And so then they handed me this little snowman, uh, almost like a tin,
Mhm.
and I opened it, and there was a letter in there that said, "Go look in the back seat of our car."
Mhm.
And I actually was rearranging my studio the other day, and I still have that little tin with the note in
Yes.
it saying, "Go look in the back seat of my car." And I went out there, man, and there was a Talent Dreadnought acoustic guitar sitting in the back seat. And so, I mean, that I was just kind of like back at that moment, and it's like, man, like talk about like a life changing moment.
Mhm.
So, I remember them coming over the Christmas Day and getting my first guitar, and Jimmy played a tiny bit, and he taught me how to tune it, and he taught me a couple chords, and man, I just thought I was a rock star. I thought
Nice.
it was so great. But I think that has to live in just one of my absolute favorite Christmas memories, because it's like, man, who would have thought that was so life changing too,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That needs to be the original, right? If you ever want to write an original Christmas song,
That's the
that
one.
that needs to be it.
Oh man, I agree. Well, it's really special too, because like Jimmy actually passed away a few years ago,
Mm.
and Kathy Granny is still alive, and we're still in touch. And
Mhm.
so, but I've every time I went and took that old guitar, and I still have that guitar, and
Nice.
it's like, I think it's cool. But definitely, you give me some great song ideas for next year.
Yeah, it's like because the second as you were telling it, for whatever reason, my creative brain or whatever just started taking
Yeah,
over, and I'm like, look in the back seat. That's it, or so
yeah,
something to that effect. I don't know, but
it's cool. Well, give
yeah,
me ideas. Maybe to put you on as a writer.
I'm not a writer. I'm just over here. Don't do that to me. I
All right.
don't need all that. So, um, but yeah. So I really appreciate you taking the time, and then I also wanted to take a quick second to thank you for participating in the Pan Can fundraiser. It was a really good year for us, and it's so much so that it was like we decided to extend it out to the end of the year and just kind of keep that going a little bit, and
Oh, and no problem at all. Thank you for having me and for letting me be a part of it. So
yeah.
I think it's what you're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And you got the interesting part of my brain where I was just going on full monster and adrenaline, where it was just kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing right now, but we're here. So
We're doing it. We're here.
yep,
We're doing it.
yep. So if anybody wants to check out your music, check out the music video, check out anything you got going on, where's the best place to find you?
Oh man, head on over to ashtaylor.com. We have everything on there, from links to my social media, music. You can join my fan club, the Bad Ashes. We have merch, tour dates. I mean, you name it. I think everything is on that website, but maybe my blood type. I don't think they list that. But yeah, feel free to give me a follow and shoot me a message. Always love to meet new folks. So appreciate y'all tuning in and listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat, and we will see you all later.